Hello, welcome to MCFC9320 Group Podcast. Good evening, folks. Tonight, the gang's back. We've been away for a few weeks, haven't we? You know, well, Anne-Marie, she went and got married somewhere. Rizzy went to Gambia and got married to Alex. So tonight we've got two debutees on with Norman and Ian. Thank you for joining us, guys, and welcome.
No problem, Andy.
So, seeing as you're the newbies, we'll start with you tonight. Right, let's go.
You're not here, John. Are you not here, John? No.
No, I'm not here.
And obviously we've got Celebrity John. You know, we call him Celebrity John because you may have seen him on all them videos.
Slightly disappointed he didn't get his picture taken with Noel Gallagher yesterday.
I didn't want it.
To be honest,
me, but you know what I mean.
To be honest, I prefer John's autograph than Noel Gallagher's anyway. So let's get straight into the match. Ian, what's your thoughts on the match yesterday, pal?
We didn't put our chances away, did we? That's top and bottom of it. If we'd have scored when we should have, we'd have had a win. We can go on about VAR and God knows what all day long, but we should have won without that.
No, totally agree. I had to watch I had to put myself through the whole match today because obviously I was flying back from Tenerife while the match was going on yesterday. 90 minutes of my life I couldn't get back, really, no?
Yeah, I think the thing is that it's going to be nearly impossible to keep on winning and winning. The way I look at the game is it's not so much 3 points lost, it's a point that was won. And, you know, you're going to have matches like that. I mean, City fans over the years have watched games where, you know, it's hit the post twice, the keeper's pulled off some great saves. But, you know, what makes me laugh is all the newspapers are saying that City have opened the door for Liverpool. Well, they haven't. You know, out of the last 13 matches, we've won 12 and drawn 1. So that's not opening the door. But you know, the players were good, you know. I think that, we had the chances. We didn't put them away. But we're still creating the chances. So, yeah, disappointed we didn't win, but not overly disappointed. I'm just glad we got a draw. You know, we're still undefeated after 13 games. And the other thing which it reminds me of, you know, whatever happens towards the end of the season, we can look back on that game and say, that was the point that won us the league. That's the point that won us the league. If you remember back, you know, we all remember the Aguero moment, but I always remember the game against Wigan, where we were getting beat 1-0, and Joe Hart pulled off a fantastic save, and Gary Neville, if you remember, gave him man of the match. And John Stones against Liverpool.
Yeah, there's always defining moments in seasons now. But yesterday, you know, well, I'll go back to you, Ian, because you actually touched upon it. We can go on about VAR, etc. But you know, there should have been a red card. You know, on the tackle Definitely. The tackle on Laporte. You know, and this. Well, we'll ebb and flow a little bit. This weekend, and I tweeted it a little bit earlier, and it was almost like the powers that be wanted clubs to get closer to City this weekend, and I think some of the like we'll touch upon it now. As you can see there, like the tackle on Laporte, absolutely, you know, people say, oh yeah, you know, it wasn't a red card, and then you get others who say, oh, you know, he should have been sent off. There's his injury.
Yeah.
That's not a red card.
For me, it's a red card every day of the week.
Yeah, John Stones got sent off for the same thing, didn't he?
Exactly. And just look at today. You've got a certain team getting a very, very dubious penalty.
Yeah.
And you get another team that gets a, you know, what I think is a perfectly good goal disallowed.
Yeah, well, let's right. So, what did you say there, Anne-Marie? Right. So, can you see them? By the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Tell you what, he needs to get a new shaver, don't he? He's not right close shave, that is it? It's stumbling.
So let's go bottom right there. The Jota one. I know that went to.
No, we can't see that, Andy. All we can see is Laporte's leg.
Can you have another slide, please? Next.
That's the one.
There you go. Exhibit B. So there, Jota. although it was 3, to put it 3-1, it's still defining moments because Palace was still going at him. They shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't maybe, but Palace could have got a draw out of that. They had enough chances to absolutely, to floor Liverpool today.
The thing is, Andy, the amount of time it took to get to that decision as well. So it not only sort of took the heat out of the moment because Palace were well on top at that point.
Yeah,
the
they
amount
were.
of time it took, the game was finished at that point then because even if they'd have said it's not a penalty, the game's virtually done because they've just killed the game for 2 or 3 minutes there, and took the momentum right out of it, and that's what happened again with City with the Kevin De Bruyne incident. I personally think VAR, they actually got the thing right if you use it to the rules as I understand it. Using it for clear and obvious mistakes. Now, for me, I watched it back 30, 40 times, and I still couldn't work out whether he was in the box. I couldn't work out much contact. So, in that case, it's not a clear and obvious mistake for what the referee gave, and he gave no penalty. So, for me, you've got to stay with that. That's a big decision in VAR being used.
I agree. I agree, but the incident on Laporte, going back to our match, the incident on Laporte, how can that not even be a red card? And have you noticed and I've not seen anything this season other than when the referee gets called to the monitor, that decision is going to be changed. It doesn't matter what the referee. I'd like to see a referee have a pair of gonads and go, something. I've seen it on the monitor again, but something. I was right, and I'm going to stand by my decision. They may as well just have a robot Alex on the pitch.
Yeah,
I guess the robot would do a better job.
Yeah, the thing is, Andy, can I ask the question to the group? Has anybody ever actually refereed a game?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And how many games have you refereed, Andy?
Half a game because I got blasted off all the kids. He was abusing me, so I just went. I want someone else to do it in the second half.
Well, to be honest, I've refereed quite a lot of games, not professional level, but at grassroots level. Okay, with kids and adults as well, and it's absolutely impossible to get every decision right, and B, get a decision that is right, but accepted by people at the sidelines.
Isn't that what VAR's for, though, no? That's what VAR's for. They're getting a second chance at rectifying something.
The point I'm making, Andy, is it's not up to me. VAR is not up to getting the decision right. It's up to the referee making the right decision in the first place. And that referee, from what he saw from his position, right, he felt it was a yellow card. Now, actually, when you look at it in slow motion and everything, it was a red card. But in the context of the game and what the referee saw, he thought it was a yellow card. And too many referees are now getting to the stage where they're frightened of making the tough decisions because they're relying on VAR now to make the decisions for them.
As far as I'm concerned, they need a different career then because they're getting a second bite of the cherry. Whereas, like I said, it's for if there wasn't before VAR, a referee would make a decision, and it's only after the game where they go, something, I made a blunder there, or something, I was absolutely bang on. Now that they can go to VAR, actually, I'm not 100% sure. Let me go and have a look at it again. And the referee should be something, I made the right decision, or wow, I didn't make the right decision, but now I can overturn it. It's a no-brainer. They're just absolute robots. Ian, what's your thought on VAR?
If it does, it's obviously not doing the right thing, is it? Because every man and his dog could see that was a red card. And for someone in the studio to go over and over and over and over it and come up with that I'll give it back to the referee to look at again. He's not going to make himself look a buffoon by saying I got it wrong, is he? It's
No, but I
what
think
should happen
if sorry, go on. Sorry.
Before VAR come in, referees used to get it promoted and drop down leagues and stuff because they weren't up to scratch. Is the same going to happen with the VAR referees? Because it's quite clear that a lot of them aren't up to scratch.
That's a great point, Ian, because it was only a couple of weeks ago where a referee doing the VAR made an horrific decision. You know, I forget what match, it wasn't a City match. And a couple of hours later, he actually was the referee on a match somewhere else. How can that happen?
Yeah,
Barmy.
No, they've. I think VAR's a good thing if it's used correctly, but you know that how can somebody who's never played the game make a decision whether something was intentional or not? You know yourself, if you've played a sport, it don't have to be football. It could be anything. You know what goes on the pitch, in and off it, and all the rest of it. You make that decision as well. From if the referee's on the pitch, you can see intent in the eyes of the player. You can see it. You know, when you play football, you play rugby or whatever you play, you can see whether somebody meant to do something. You can see whether it's an accident. Your body language doesn't hide it.
And Grizz, you know, that's another great point because, you know, straight away, a player's reaction, you know, I know you get players faking stuff and that, but normally you'll get a collective player's reaction over a challenge or something. I think that is the most. It's the
biggest
most
telling.
accurate way, you know, of say an horrific challenge. Yes, straight away the players were going over, and you know there was a bit of mayhem and stuff like that. That's because the players the players know, who were on the pitch, that was a bad challenge, whether it was intent or not. It doesn't matter you can't send him off because he didn't mean it. It doesn't matter because Celebrity John. Am I right or am I talking bubbles?
No, you're right, mate. For me, the whole VAR situation needs a rethink. Totally. They should have an independent body that's actually doing it. They shouldn't be the referees because they all look after each other. The referee association is one big family to them, and they will not make anybody look stupid. So it's got to be an independent thing that's doing it now. It's the only way that everything's going to be done right.
Like online technology.
Yeah, the same scenario is that it's very open for fixing games, match fixing, things like that. And nobody's got a say in it. Basically, they can do anything they want.
Closed shop, innit?
Yeah, of course it is.
And Marie, ex-players should be more involved, especially with VAR, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so, because they've got a better idea of what's going on and what's likely to be going on. Just on a side note, going back to something Ian said at the beginning about us taking our chances yesterday, can we just discuss how did Sterling miss?
Because it's Sterling.
That's why I wouldn't rush with giving him an extension.
I think he had a bet on at the bookies for 1-1.
Well, he should have scored then, really, shouldn't he? If he had a bet for 1-1, come on, think about it.
1-0 down.
No, because he had City's the second goal, and City's first goal was Laporte. I have that good information.
Anne-Marie, back to what you were saying there. This is the problem with Raheem Sterling, that he has to have too many chances to score a goal. And he is why, unfortunately, everybody's going on about we need a striker, we need to do this, we need to do that. We're not scoring goals. You know, when we have a bad day at the office, collectively we had a bad day yesterday.
Yep.
I think apart from, you know, the fact that we got that header, we'd probably be still playing out there today and we still wouldn't score. It was
what do we need, Riz? Because that was a great link, that.
I don't think, No, I don't know who Alvarez is.
Me neither. But everybody's talking about him.
Don't know who he is.
He's
South American, isn't he?
Argentinian. Yes. He's
is.
players for River Plate.
River Plate. I know you should never buy. You should
I know
never
that,
buy
but we
a
all-
play. Sorry,
we
Rich.
all-
You should
we-
go on. Just like you
Yeah,
should
but we
never
all
buy a.
can I just say-
Listen to me. You should never buy a player off YouTube, as it were, because we bought Joe.
Yeah.
And he was
Oh,
brilliant on YouTube.
Yeah.
He was a world beater, and we bought a panel beater.
I was about to say exactly the same thing. He's well known to the FIFA brigade.
Friends.
Anyone who plays FIFA, he's got he's probably got a load of stats that are really good, and a 5-minute show reel on YouTube. I've never heard of him.
For me, that does it for me.
It's copying him.
Look.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Well, they both think they're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you should see him on the World Wide Web, John.
Who-
Sorry,
who-
celebrity.
Oh,
Who
God.
comes out with this nonsense? Where's this nonsense about us signing him come from?
Listen,
Sam, is it your mate, John, Sam Lee?
No, it's not.
But it can't be true that if Sam Lee's not picked it up,
listen,
he's like Page in the Oracle, he is.
if that happens
Andy?
for 15 million, I'd take it because you know yourself.
It's a nice deal.
It's a no-brainer.
Look,
Isn't it
who
not?
is he? You might as well sign me and Ian. You can have him for
Yeah,
7 and
yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
8.
He's a 5'8" Argentinian. And the last 5'8" Argentinian we had was fantastic.
All right then, John. So we'll just excuse me. Attention, all footballers. Are you 5'8" and Argentinian? We'll give you 30 million. And over you come.
And got thighs like
I'll
tree
be-
trunks.
I'll be your agent.
I think to buy somebody for 50. Look, we've got. I think the price is all down to the South
Who is
American.
he? Who
Eh?
is he? Who is he? What's he done? I've not heard of him. We didn't talk about him last week or all season. So who is this player that we're all talking about here?
He does that.
Oh well, yeah.
So that's the third
He's got-
requirement. The
To be
Spider-Man.
fair, is when you read his stats are very good and
Has anybody
encouraging.
seen him play
Yes.
week in, week out?
Yes.
No.
I have. On FIFA. It's just that the stats are brilliant.
There you go.
No, but
We can all have a 5-minute show reel that makes us look good.
you
Oh.
can, mate. You can.
No,
Look,
like, so,
Harry Kane looked good last year. Look
No,
at him now.
What we're saying is in the South American market at the moment. Look, we got Gab for was it 27 million, and he's not done bad. You know, I know he has his critics, Alex, but overall, it's a if we went to sell Gab to pretty much anyone, we'd get more than our money back. So if we buy
Definitely.
Julian Alvarez for 15 million, you know we're gonna at least double our money.
Nailed that accent from Tenerife.
Yeah. Honestly,
I can't believe you're saying that. I can't
What?
believe you're saying go and blow 15 million on a player that nobody's ever heard of because he's got a 5-minute show reel. Have you watched him play week in, week out? And don't get me wrong, the player might be absolutely fantastic, and I hope he is if we sign him. But
But he
I can't
does that, Riz.
Yeah, well, I can
Well,
do that.
Yeah, where's this information? Where's this information we're going to buy this player come from? I mean, has it come from the club?
The
Has it
room-
come from?
The
Twitter?
rumour started.
Twitter.
Somebody called Ian from Blackpool.
Oh right.
Oh, right, well, there you go. Then that's,
Even more then.
Have you heard of him, Ian? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable. He reckons this young lad who plays next to Messi in the Argentinian team must be a bit of all right.
there you go then.
But for 50, well, right, okay then, Riz. Here's one for you, seeing as you're very vocal about this.
I am.
You buy Ireland for 100. Well, you'd get him for 76 million now. His buyout clause, if he chose to come to City, that is, which I don't think he wants to. Or somebody like Julian Alvarez for 15 million. Which one would you go for?
Bothered either way. I don't bothered about getting another striker.
God, you're right, grumpy
You've asked me which one I want. I'm not bothered whether I get either of them.
Right, so Celebrity John.
What we need is our players to be able to hit the back of the onion bag.
And they normally can.
If our players can start scoring goals and putting away the chances, we don't need a striker. The formation is set up to score goals, and we're having the chances, like somebody said earlier, we're just not scoring them.
I think if we'd have had a striker yesterday, we'd have won that game.
Really?
I don't know.
Possibly.
But no, seriously though, because
if my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle, wouldn't she? So that's it.
Come on now, Riz.
I believe she is. But my point is, you buy Ireland for stupid money, not proven in the Premier League, or you buy somebody unknown. Granted, he's unknown. For 50 million.
How many of us knew about Diaz before he came?
Exactly.
I don't
None
watch
of us.
any team other than City, so even in the Premier League, I don't know
And
players.
Bernardo Corrade, who were right. Well, use a different example than Bernardo.
Ferran Torres.
Ferran Torres, look at the money we've got.
He's a belter, him, wasn't he?
No, but he's got.
But how much did we know about Jesus before we bought him?
Exactly.
Don't know.
I didn't know about any.
We're not talking
I'm honest.
about it.
Alex still doesn't know about him.
We're talking about Alvarez, who's appeared in the last week.
You're just grumpy. Have you been asleep?
I'm just being honest.
Contrarian.
I'm just being honest, and this is what podcasting
Andy,
is all about. And
what Paul is actually saying is right. We don't need a striker. It'd be a luxury thing that we don't need one. In Pep's formation, a striker doesn't work. And we've seen that because when he plays his strikers, he plays them out wide.
Okay then, here's one for you. If Aguero in his prime was still with us now, would he not get into the team?
Yeah, he would.
Why?
But he wouldn't play as an out-and-out striker.
he didn't get in at first, did he?
Who, Aguero?
No. Yeah, he had to adapt.
No,
He had to adapt.
because Pep opted for Gab Jesus over him. Am I right, Norm?
He did, but I say I'm still new to this and I'm confused, which is not unusual. If City had bought him, I'd have faith in the people at City who know these players. But we're talking about somebody who's come through on Twitter, come through on Facebook, and I don't think it's really relevant unless City buy him, and then we can say who is there. You've got to trust him. And I think the lads are right. We don't need a striker because we don't play like that. And you go back to the Sterling miss. Sterling does that every single season, but he still scores goals. But one of the points I wanted to come back to, it was raised by Anne-Marie before about VAR and that. What I'd like to see is more professional footballers actually becoming A, VAR people, and B, becoming referees. Now, then you can get if you play the game, I think like one of the lads said, if you play the game, you know the difference between an accident, you know the difference between slipping, and you know the difference between intentional. And I think the more ex-professionals who's unfortunately the career's finished at say 30 because either of an injury or whatever the reason, they could come in. I don't want to mention that other sport which has got an oval ball, but I follow rugby and that, and the grandson plays rugby and everything. And the number of former rugby players who have had to retire because of an injury, they then become referees, and you don't see the difference.
Okay then, no, here's one for you. Jamie Carragher, I'm just using him. It's City versus Liverpool. Right, Jamie Carragher is all there in his referee's badge, right? And there's a dodgy penalty decision for City or Liverpool, whatever way, and Jamie Carragher goes either penalty to Liverpool or not a penalty to City.
Well, two things there. One, it's hypothetical, and secondly, if Jamie Carragher was a referee, he would be allowed to referee a City versus Liverpool game.
Good answer, Norman. Good answer.
Because what you have to do as a referee, you have to nominate a football team that you support. What is your football team?
He
And
would.
then-
He'd put Everton though, wouldn't he?
yeah. But I mean, if you use Jamie Carragher, you know, as an example, he wouldn't be able to use Liverpool. He might not even be able to
Okay,
play for
Anthony
Everton.
Anthony Taylor. All his family are United fans, so it's just Anthony Taylor who's an Altrincham fan by some bizarre coincidence.
Yeah, but you've got to trust the referees, though, haven't you? I've talked about the professional football, but it comes a stage where we're all having a pop at referees, and some of the, but it's not the 99 things they get right. It's always the one that they get wrong.
I'd just like to see him. Like this weekend's highlighted it because there was one in the I forget the incident now. There's one in the Spurs and Chelsea match today.
Where they put where Harry Kane took his back.
Yeah. So this weekend for me it has brought it home. It's like it's been an ideal opportunity more than ever that this weekend for referees who go over to the big monitor and go, actually, they've called me over to have another look at it. I still think I'm right. You know, and there's nobody who's gone up and gone.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to your decision.
Yeah, but I just added to that, Andy. The only change I would like to see, and I doubt very much it'll ever come out, is a referee at the end of the game saying to the commentator why he made that decision. And instead of arguing, just say he made that decision because of.
Or on the microphone, like rugby.
On the microphone,
as the match is going on.
When you look back at rugby, you know, where the referees are mic'd up, and the referee will either ask the VAR. The referee will make a decision, then ask the VAR or the equivalent of the VAR, what can he do? He'll then go to the players, and he'll talk to the players why he gave that decision. Now, I think that if he started micing up the referees and trying to understand the reason why they did that, I think we get more support and a better understanding. Whereas we're at the Etihad, 50,000 people, and the referee makes a decision, and we all go, what was all that about? And the players go up to the referee and say, why did you do that? Now, if he was mic'd up and you could hear why he did it, you know, you could still disagree with him. I think people would semi-understand what it is. So I think we're using technology, the VAR. I don't think we're using it the right way. I think we can learn from other sports. Other sports, again, you take American football. You know, their referees are mic'd up. They say why they've made that decision. You can still disagree with it, as I say, but you can begin to understand and probably get a better feel for what they're trying to do. As I say, it's not the 99 they get right, it's the one they get wrong, which I think we think is the contentious part. So I think we should move, you know, create the technology for VAR, but mic them up or let them come on afterwards.
Norman, I like yourself watch rugby. I played rugby, and I went to watch an England game once. And this was years ago. It was England versus Argentina, and it was at the Swamp. When you went in, you bought a little like radio. It was a disposable radio. You paid £5 for it, and it was tuned into one channel, and it was tuned into the referee. You put a little earpiece in your ear, and the battery lasted about an hour, about 2 hours. So it's a one game throwaway radio, and you could listen to every single thing that the referee was saying. So it killed the argument about, we don't want the young children hearing swearing words because it's obscene and all the rest of it. Well, don't buy them a radio so they can't hear it. Yeah. So everyone in the ground, when the referee made a decision, you could see it on the big screens, you could see stuff, but you could hear it on the radio. He was talking to the players. As the game was going on, he was giving a commentary to the players. Get on side. No, you need to get back. If you don't get back, I'm going to penalise you. And it went through the whole 80 minutes like that. There was no contentious decisions. Even if you agreed with the decision or disagreed, you understood why the referee had come to that decision. And you could see from his point of view that decision was made. And so there was less moaning in the crowd. There was less booing and less, animosity, if you like, because people could see how he made that decision. Why is that not implemented in football?
In terms of that then, my overall point, how did you feel as a spectator watching the game live and having the facility of hearing what the referee said. How did did it enhance your feeling? Do you feel it better or worse? Exactly. It's the same when I watch rugby. I think of rugby matches as well, and I've watched on the television different sports and everything. So you can forget the commentators. I'd rather not have the commentators, going on about the obvious. I've got two eyes, and I watch the match. Right? I don't need to tell anybody to tell me, just getting paid £250,000 a year to tell me what I can see. What I'd rather have is a referee, understanding. Andy, you and I worked together many years, right? One thing I always did, if I had to make a decision, I told the people why I made that decision. Now, the individual might not have liked what I said, but equally, I give the ability to know why I said it. And that's why,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's why I mean, let's enhance the technology, but let's say what the referee. Yeah, you're going to get swear words, and yes, you're going to get unfortunately. But I've refereed an under-13 match the other week, and you should have heard some of the language from the under-13s. But, as a spectator, why did he do that? And the referee said, I did that because of. And you're right, Chap said, you're right. You can hear the referee saying, move away, you're offside, play the ball, whatever the case may be. And it just makes you feel part of the game, Now, whether or not that's feasible, whether that's possible, technology-wise, I'm sure it would be. But even if it is, it must be a lot better.
I totally buy into that. I would rather listen to a live referee, linesman, VAR than Martin Tyler any day. In fact, I'd rather listen to my no, I'm not going to say that in case she watches. No. John, Celebrity John, how the ladies got on?
1-1, finish, mate.
1-1.
Hey, I tell you what, that's improvement, because at the beginning of the season, we'd have got hammered, wouldn't we?
Let's touch on the City women. No puns intended, Anne-Marie. It's no coincidence that we've got like Steph Orton back, Lucy Bronze back, and that ilk where our fortunes are changing. Because just before Christmas, I was like, Gareth Taylor needs to go, and you backed him.
Yeah, I did, because I knew that a lot was down to injury. And even we're due back our Ellie Roebuck, aren't we, this week, I think.
Yep.
So it's made, obviously you can see the last few games we've been flying really, with our defence more back to normal. It was just a matter of time. And I think tonight it's 1-1 draw with Arsenal isn't a bad result for us.
Top of the league, Arsenal. They've had a little wobble and stuff like that, but hopefully that form will continue. Ian, yesterday Pep achieved 500 points in record-breaking time in 213 games.
Oh, let's hope he achieves a lot more and stays for a bit longer.
Some going though, isn't it? Reaching 500 points in that speed, and it does look as if it's been muted that he is going to be offered an extension to his contract.
Yeah, I would. I'd want him. You can't see anyone that had reached the same standards as he has.
No, I just feel if he give us even another 2 years, what we could achieve in that, in another 2 years, it'd be incredible.
I want another 10.
Well, rumor has it, Celebrity John, you're in the hot seat after Pep.
It'll be going downhill from there, mate.
Did you actually get on City stage, by the way, against Chelsea?
Yes, I did. I was on the.
Don't encourage him.
Did anybody throw rotten fruit and stuff at you?
No, it was all good. They didn't manage to show me video on the big screen because they messed it up. But that's, City TV productions they just messed everything up.
So did anybody know what you were on there for then?
Yeah, we actually explained it.
He was a musician.
Did you reenact it?
No, not really. We did a little bit of a competition, and the people that actually won the competition got an upgrade.
A meet and greet with you.
No, you got Ivy's vest.
Yeah, an Ivory's jacket.
Ivy's jacket they got. It's a pity you had to explain to somebody what you did.
I know, but all they had to do was show the video on the big screen, and they couldn't even do that. They messed it up.
Apparently, John, my lad said to me, he's seen a tweet from Piers Morgan or something saying he tried his best not to laugh, but he just had to laugh.
I know. So seeing him.
I know. So,
Yeah, I know.
No,
and Matt Lucas as well. He put it on as well. So
did he?
Yeah.
Well, we've actually got Matt Lucas live on the show under the name of Riz. Hello, Matt.
I knew. As soon as you mentioned it, I thought I'll go and get my baby suit. I'll go and get my romper suit and put that on.
You're too slim for him.
You know what, Norman? You'll do for me, mate. I don't know. You put up with working. Well, I say working. You probably did the work, and he probably just ate food.
The only thing was that I think technically I was actually in charge, but not in department. But was it higher than him?
Well, it doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't take much, does it?
I'm just a minion. And Marie, Alex, here's one for you because I'm going to start off with Alex on this one. Grealish.
Go on.
Jack Grealish is form for us so far because I'm seeing a lot of not necessarily City supporting media, for City fans, but I'm seeing a lot of anti-Grealish stuff at the minute going like, what a waste of 100 million, etc.
I just think that we haven't seen his best yet. Simple as that.
It's been a bit stop-start for him, hasn't it? And Marie, here's one for you. Sterling, you touched upon him a little bit earlier. And his last couple of months been decent for us. So one bad miss and everyone's back on his back.
You say that, but it wasn't just the miss, was it? I don't think his all-round game was his best yesterday. If you look at their goal, it stemmed from, there's a few factors in it. The fact that Grealish didn't come back and cover. Laporte should have maybe done a bit more to block the shot. But it originated from the fact that Sterling was on the edge of the box and couldn't decide what to do, and we lost the ball there.
What about Phil Foden? I thought Phil Foden was to blame. Was the major part of the blame in that build?
Well, that's what I was saying, because he didn't track back. But for me, I think Foden needs to stop spending time with Grealish.
Yep.
That's what I think.
What, on the pitch or off?
Off the pitch, obviously.
I just feel there's just some I don't know. There's just something there in the end what's not quite clicking with when Foden and Grealish are on the pitch.
You know what I think it is, Andy? I think Grealish is start-up. I think he used to be the big fish at Villa, and he used to take players on and that. And I think he suddenly realised he's playing with great players.
He looks scared to death, doesn't he?
Yeah, as a result of that, he either tries too hard, or he's a bit, he's saying, well, I'll pass to you because you're a better player than me, because you're De Bruyne or you're Foden or whatever. You take Foden, you look at him, he'll take players on. Yet Grealish, when he gets the ball, he doesn't take players on. He's looking to pass it all the time. I just think he's starstruck. I just think he realised what he is.
Yeah. Let me ask Ian this. Grealish, when he first signed for us, he was taking players on, wasn't he? And he's not now. What's changed?
I think he's learning how to play the City way. I think Pep's gave him a job. This is what I want you to do. You could, even yesterday, when not many of them had a good game, you could see the links starting to form between him and Foden and him. And how many times did he back heel it to De Bruyne? Go past someone and back heel it to De Bruyne. Now, them combinations are starting now. And I think next season we'll see the best of him.
Pretty much like when Sterling, for me, he didn't have a shocker of a first season for us. He had an average season, his first season for us. And then when Pip, I don't know who Pip is, when Pep got hold of him for the second season, I think that's still Sterling's best season for us so far.
It's same as Cancelo, though, isn't it? His first season with us. It was terrible. We kept saying about him losing the ball all the time and things like that. But look at him now. He's an absolute amazing player.
Would you prefer Danilo back, Celebrity John?
Again, mate.
Would you prefer Danilo back, who we swapped him for?
No, not really.
So, Riz, here's one for you. Going back to Julian Alvarez, nobody ever heard of him. Did you actually hear about Cancelo, before we signed him?
Yeah.
Okay, who did he play for?
Got injured.
Brilliant answer.
That's exactly my point. No, sometimes you can get a diamond, whether it's a rough diamond, and turn them into quality.
Yeah, but everybody weren't going on about we're going to sign him. Most City players, you don't hear a thing. We just go and sign him. We don't shout it from the rooftops. The media said we were going to sign Sancho. The media said we were going to sign old lizard neck, what's he called, Ronaldo. They all said we were going to sign him. We all said we were going to sign such a body, and we never did. We weren't even interested in him. So it's the media saying we're buying these players.
I'd say that's
out and buy a player.
Agent-driven. That's agent-driven.
Well, yeah, but it's still
I don't think we need to worry about signing anyone because our king is back, isn't he?
Aguero.
Ares.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
The African
What?
king.
Glad you brought that up.
I wonder how long it'd take you, Anne-Marie.
So, Norman, Ian, Anne-Marie is absolutely in love with Mahrez. She wants him in the team all the time. Don't you, Anne-Marie?
You wouldn't notice it, would you, by the things that she says and that. But you take the point that everyone's made. You look at Mahrez when he came from Leicester. He come with this obviously reputation of being a good player as he was at Leicester. He didn't fit in. He just didn't adapt to the style. And just going back to the Grealish, I watch him like we all do at the Etihad, and the jury's still out. I'm prepared to give him the opportunity of getting in. But let him get over his starstruckness. Let him get back to what he's good at. But and then let him go forward that way. But whatever the club decides to pick, I'll just support them. But I don't follow YouTube. Thankfully, and I say this in a nice sense. Thankfully, I'm not on Twitter because that's the age of the ignorant people who are on there.
Is that because you don't have to see my video?
No, I actually saw your video on Facebook.
All right, okay.
I thought, what's that idiot in that?
That's what most people think.
So I say, in terms of the player's first season, I think that you've got to give them the first season to find the legs, and then move on forward. And the prime example of that is Pep, wasn't it? He was exactly the same. He didn't have the swashbuckling start that he thought he was going to have. But then,
just let me come in there now. There's a reason why that with Pep. He come in from the outset, because don't forget we had Zabaleta, we had Kolarov, we had an aging team. So Pep was already in his second season, and anything he won in his first season was pretty much of a bonus. And he actually said that the players what he inherited wasn't the right ones, and it's not about spending money on players. It's about getting that time to work with them. And I'm inclined to agree with Ian. I reckon with Grealish, I reckon he's adapting more and learning how to play the Pep way and within that team rather than a starstruckness.
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both. Yeah. You look at Phil Foden when he first came into that City team, and we've all been there. If you've played a sport and you go into a team higher than what you're normally playing in, these are your peers that you're moving into. So you're going to be, I think starstruck's probably, I know what you mean, Norman, but I don't think it's the right word. I think it's more sort of like, you're finding your pecking order. It's like when you go into a job, you might have been a top manager at a certain company, and you move to another company and you're starting again. you might be high up as in managerial role, but the pecking order in the brew room, you've got to start from scratch and build your way up through it. And it's the same in any sport. You've got to do that. And
the only time I've seen Grealish starstruck is at home in the second half when he's running past John.
Oh, near Pep's area there. Yeah.
No, I still think I'm right. I still think that he's in awe of the players that are there, and also in awe of the medals and the competitions that they've won. So I still think that the phrase starstruck is the same. It is so worthy of note. But I think we all agree anyway that his second season, like all the good players who we've had, it's become good. And I don't buy into this because it costs 100 million. I just think because he's a good player, and therefore he's joined a better team than what we had just before. And I just think that and going back to the Pep scenario, I don't think it's much. It's whether or not Pep wants to stay into it at the end of the day. Does he want to stay with it? And I think he does. He seems to love the place. He loves the city. He loves his surroundings. So I think that's going to make his decision. But
I think it's Pep's wife who'll make the decision, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Can I say something quickly? Sorry, I just
go on, Alex.
Just have to leave you guys now. So thanks for the chat.
Is the electric going off in Bulgaria?
Kinda is, yes. Thanks for the chat, guys. Good night. Take care.
Take care, Alex.
Bye bye.
Well, just coming back to that
I
point.
think part of the issue with Grealish is he's carrying the weight of that 100 million price tag as well. Because they can't talk about him without throwing in he costs 100 million.
I think personally that once we win the league this season, because we are going to do, there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to win this league now. I reckon once he gets that Premier League medal in his hand, we'll see a different Jack. Because I think his shoulders will relax, and I think he'll just flow into the team then.
What will he be like when we win the Champions League then this season, John?
I'm not saying that one. Because it hurt enough last time I was there.
No.
Oh, it did.
It did, didn't it?
Did.
So I think it's a good comparison between Grealish and Sterling, if I'm honest. First season Pep, if you like. Because as I said, I think Sterling was exceptional and probably his best season for us under Pep's.
If I'm being honest, Sterling doesn't. Grealish doesn't bother me. I'm not really bothered about Grealish's form, to be honest, because I always felt he was always overrated anyway. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I'm wondering what people are expecting from Grealish. What we're meant to get from him. That's, this all amazing, all encompassing thing, because, I don't think he was that fantastic a player anyway. Good player, but was he that fantastic? So people are saying, we've not got the best out of him. We haven't got the best out of him because Pep will make him better. But I'm not convinced that, that what he's giving us at the moment isn't too bad. I'm not worried about what Grealish is doing. I'm more concerned about, other players and as a collective, as a football team. When one of us doesn't play well, the whole team seems to suffer. And I don't get my head around it. We don't have one or two players playing badly. We play badly as a team.
Yeah.
And that's more my concern than individual players.
All it takes is a couple of players to like you say, play badly, and then it spreads out to the whole team, because it won't actually click between them all then, because it's breaking down. And like you said, the whole team ends up playing badly.
Doesn't that go back to what Norm said early on? Like, we won 12 on the bounce. We didn't play great yesterday, but we dug a point out when it could be an absolute crucial point.
Yeah.
Of course it could.
So you see, I mean, the thing is, I can't at the moment see what Grealish is bringing to the team. However, Pep said he wanted him. And as Pep's a better manager than I am, I've got...
no, he's not, Norm. I've worked with you.
So, I've got to trust in, I've got to trust in that. But something which is I'm conscious of in my head anyway, it's not so much. I want Pep to stay. Don't get me wrong. I think without shadow of a doubt, he's just the world's number one, and I hope he stays. I just hope that somebody at City is has got a contingency plan of who to replace him. Should he go? Because he's got another year, 2 years, 3 years in his contract. We should start looking now to do it. How many teams where there's been a famous manager, and I'm not talking about that lot across the road, but use them as an example, whereby you've got to replace the managers. So I just hope that somebody is doing planning behind the scenes now and says, yeah, because they've always, when we pick players up, somebody, I think Paul said before, the only time these is when they turn up. We don't shout about them. We don't raise about them.
I can't see Pep doing that to us, Norm. But it's a great point. But I think the relationship he's got with our owners and stuff like that, he will secretly. I think he will secretly tell our owners, listen, I'm going to be going on whatever date. Start planning without me now. I think Arteta was the one they had high hopes for, but I think now he's cutting his teeth at Arsenal. I think he may be going a bit, something. Maybe he's not the one.
Yeah, that's probably it. I think you're right. I don't think Pep would do that. But I say, I just hope that and I trust in the hierarchy that they're beginning to do some contingency planning. So therefore you can do it, because no one stays forever. And we don't want to get to the stage of where, we suddenly find out that he's gone and we haven't got a replacement.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking about.
I thought they'd already brought somebody over to work under Pep. I'm sure I heard something. I think it was was it in New York, something like that? And they brought him over?
Don't know, John.
I'll have to have a look into that. I'm sure I've heard something about that.
You tell us, celebrity John.
Listen, at the end of the day, this is. I know it's Man City, but this is Pep's baby, isn't it? Pep gets to basically say what happens on and off the pitch. He's building a legacy here, and he won't leave City until that legacy is fulfilled. And part of that legacy will be finding a replacement. He knows he's not stupid, and neither do the owners. They know that, when Pep goes, it's going to be like your Alex Ferguson moment, isn't it? So they're gonna have a contingency in place, and it'll start happening. And they're not going to shout it from the rooftops like we keep saying, because as soon as you bring over a big name manager to come in and sit alongside him, to as you say, Arteta was ideal. But as soon as you bring somebody in, say you brought a big name in to sit alongside him, then we know that that's at the point where Pep's going to go. So we're not going to telegraph it. When he goes, he's going to go on his own accord when everything's right in place. There's no reason for him to go. He'll go when he's ready.
I'm with you on that one, Riz. I just think he's so comfortable, in his surroundings. It's everybody more or less. When are you going, Pep? When are you going? When you're going? And he's just saying, when the club say I've got to go. He's not saying, "Oh, I want to do this, that, or the other." It's on his terms. Ian, can you see him extending his contract?
Yeah, he loves it, doesn't he? And that's the impression he gives to the fans. He loves the club. He loves the city. I can see him, like he's just said, he's going to stay till the job's done.
And what will the job be done? Is that his successor or the big shiny one? I don't mean Riz, by the way.
Both. I don't think Champions League's the be all and end all for him. I think it's more about keeping the ethos going.
Genuine question for you. I know it sounds a bit biased, but where would you go after City? If you were Pep?
For Pep? International. Yeah. International.
It's the only place he could go, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't see him. He's too he's too into football.
Well,
and I don't think international football's gonna keep his brain busy enough for some reason.
He won't go to the Farmers League, that in France. I don't think Italy would listen. It's like one or two, teams. You pretty much know if, say, a Juventus is playing whoever, that Juventus are going to win. It's not like that in the Premier League. Anybody can beat anyone. You even get all the lower standard teams like United winning games in the Premier League.
They snatched one yesterday, didn't they?
Certainly did.
Was that a VAR?
Slightly dubious.
Very dubious.
Well,
Oh,
look at bottom left there. You that was an example of the
Offside. Can I just on a complete change of subject? Can I just congratulate you on your graphics, Andy? Because I think they're absolutely fantastic. And it's just brought a whole new professionalism to this already top web podcast. It just took us on.
The only gripe I've got with it, Andy, you could do it going full screen every time you show a graphic,
Except that
and then back again.
That's the Norman and Ian. That's reserved for when Andy tells one of his dad jokes.
I know.
But I just think it's great to have the old
Muppet Show.
the old Muppets are back tonight.
Yeah. Can I just say, can we just rise above there? We shouldn't mock the afflicted. So we shouldn't really talk about how lucky that team across the road were yesterday. We generally feel sorry for them, and we don't begrudge them any slight bit of success they may have, because they're still inferior to us. And I say we rise above those times.
Oh yeah,
absolutely not.
We always mention him, Norm, and then bring up the Muppet thing. It's
Exactly.
That's what they are, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a good job. I'm in the conservatory, because unfortunately, my good lady is the other side of the wall, and she happens to support that team across the road. So while I'm in the conservatory, I can think what I want.
If that was about the other side of the wall, mate, she'd be under my conservatory if I was having to be
No. To show how unbiased I am. My five grandchildren, I've got three City fans and 2 United.
Well, that needs to change.
He'll
have to be quiet now. She's walked in.
By the way, I'm in trouble because she's looked through the door.
Yeah, she was lip reading.
Get your good lady wife on now.
Sorry?
Get your good lady wife on so she can explain why.
Hang on a sec, she's coming in now. What's a quick word here? Yeah.
Come on. Why are you one of those? Hello, Mrs. Eves. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm brilliant. Why do you support them?
Because they are the best. They always have been and they always will be.
That's enough, Mrs. Eves, now.
So, can you put Norman back on?
Don't you think I deserve a medal for putting up with him?
The other way round after I know who you support.
I agree with you, Mrs. Eves.
So.
Hey, I love your David to bits. He's got sense as well.
Oh, you're joking. He is so biased, that one. So biased.
We're not.
Are you not? I believe you thousands wouldn't.
You have a good evening. Start your conversion, yeah?
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mrs. Eves.
Wow.
That's got me in trouble now.
There you
Good.
go.
That'll do.
That now.
Norm's in trouble. Life's good. So, right, guys. Anybody get anything before we disappear?
I've got one thing.
Won't do our players too much harm to have 2 weeks off now.
No, but the VAR officer from yesterday.
Are you from? Where are you from? From the VAR.
Yeah.
Hey, celebrity on VAR.
He was the same VAR man that disallowed Villa's goal against United the other day.
Is that Mr. England?
Yeah.
It's corrupt, mate.
It is.
we've seen too much of it now to come
We
up
have.
with human errors being made and blah blah blah. The technology's not worked, blah blah blah. Don't exist. It can only one reasonable answer for the mess up that it's making is corruption. And I'm surprised the bookies either aren't in on it or haven't kicked up a big stink about it. And if they have been made to keep quiet, then they've had a few backhanders to shut up because it's corrupt.
It's like they don't need referees in there because the referee's on the pitch. He should make the decisions. All they should do is advise him, say, "Look at this. What do you think?" And he should go.
He
should
do VAR. We
could.
VAR. We watch football and we know football, so we could do VAR. You don't have to know the rules. You just have to say, "Come and have a look at this." If it looks wrong,
not the first time you said that, Riz, but that's another show.
I've always said you look wrong.
So
anyway,
go on, John. Just let as they say in Frozen. Let
I can't let it loose on this show. You know that by all means, because it's a family show.
Go on.
We couldn't air it. No, that's it.
Does anybody remember why VAR was brought in the first place?
It to stop Man City.
No, before then. I just wonder why.
I understand the goal. Wasn't it?
Yeah, I understand the goal line technology when Frank Lampard scored that goal that went over the playing for England. I understand that. But and it's funny, you never get any complaints about that, do you?
No.
No one complains about that technology. Yet all of a sudden they bring in this VAR. If it was just offsides, yeah, okay, I can accept that. You are, that's like the rule, isn't it? You either are offside or you're onside. That's a black and white situation. I don't understand where referees make, you might have got a decision wrong. That's a bit that gets me.
That was his decision, wasn't it? That's the decision he made at the time. And if he was allowed to tell us that and allowed to, at the end of the game, come out and say, listen, so what happened today in the game? Well, I'd just like to apologise. I've looked back at it on the TV and I thought that the guy was encroaching or blah, blah, blah. I've now looked it back. He obviously wasn't. I can only apologise, but we're human. We'd accept it.
That's the point I made earlier on.
Yeah.
Let the referees come on, either voice mics up, and if that's not possible because of swearing and God knows where else, all right. But come on at the end of it and said, I gave that penalty, or I gave that yellow. If he gave that yellow card yesterday for the Southampton player, right, tell us why he did it. The fact we all think it should have been a red, fine, but why did he give it? And just explain to us that, the reason for it. And I think to do away with VAR, just let the referee come on at the end of it.
A bit of transparency. That's all we need.
Can I just say about the swearing bit as well? Because that annoys me, because you watch football and I know they have to, by law, have to say, I do apologise for the choice language. I get that. I take my grandkids to the football and they hear swearing. But I tell my grandkids and I bring them up correctly along with the parents. So
you shouldn't be saying that,
they know that them words are wrong. So
they hear that at the Connie Club, not at the ground, mate.
But they do. They do, and that's my point. You can watch any TV programme, any film they're watching now, a swear word will come in. And my grandkids don't, they used to go, oh, have you heard what he said? They don't say anything now because I've told them that it's wrong to say it, and you're not supposed to say it. So basically, if they hear it, so what?
And don't tell your mum what Grandad was saying.
Exactly. What happens in the Connie stays in the Connie. That's the point.
Right, guys. I think we'll end it there unless anybody's got anything. Shut up, Celebrity John VAR.
Oh, I'm fine, thank you, Matt.
Are we all good? Well, thanks, Ian, for joining us. I'll see you
in a couple
of weeks, my friend, on the in the Costa Blanca.
Yes.
Is that a code word for something?
Yeah, getting drunk. And thank you, Norm, it's been a really, really good show, and it's been
I've enjoyed it.
A pleasure you both joining us, and thank you as well, Mother. For keeping us on the straight and narrow.
Trying my best, but it's hard.
Am I one off? Do I not come on again then?
Of course you cannot.
Okay.
You used to.
We're actually thinking of maybe get Mrs. Eves on as well. She could have her own show, Mrs. Eves.
Unless she changes her allegiances live.
Hey,
We've
I
got as
reckon-
much chance as as the saying goes.
Yeah.
We can't swear on a family show.
That's quite right as well. She shouldn't change her allegiances. I would never get anybody
Exactly.
to change who they support. If they're passionate enough,
I
support who you
tell
want.
you what, the banter we have on Derby Day.
Oh, can imagine. Oof.
Right, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll all do it again very, very soon.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Andy.
Let's see you all.
Cheers, guys.
Take care.
Cheers, Andy.
See you later,
Take care,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.